Hello. Thought I'd make another video about match day 6. Got some early thoughts I thought I'd share. Not a huge deal to talk about. I think the options are kind of limited now, but thought I'd go through a few of my thoughts. I'm imagining quite a lot of people might have quite obliterated teams this match day potentially, because there was a lot of shocks. Brazil went out, Portugal went out, England went out, and Netherlands. People had a lot of Netherlands players as well potentially, so could be looking a bit grim. But I kind of feel like if that's your situation where you haven't got many players left, I feel as though you probably played the game right, because I feel like at this stage, I'm not sure, but I feel like the best way to play it is to kind of go big or go home, kind of all in, because you can either spread your bets, but then you limit your ceiling by doing that, by you're kind of guaranteeing a kind of average score. Whereas if you just punt on the teams that you think are going to go through, you either win big or you lose big. And so I kind of feel like that's probably the best method. Maybe not entirely, because we do have 5 transfers, quarterfinals, 5 semi-finals, so you can buffer your chances a little bit by having a few backup options. So I don't know. And also I think it might still be salvageable, because you've got your 5 free transfers, and you got 3-point hits that you could potentially use in certain circumstances. And I also feel like at this stage, a lot of people might be giving up on the game, especially English people, and the semi-finals and the finals. At this stage in a fantasy game, it all gets a bit not quite as exciting, because you've only got the 2 games. I mean, it's good to watch the World Cup, but in fantasy terms, they're going to be low scoring, not as many options. But this is probably the stage where you could, if you hang in there, you might actually rise through the ranks a little bit, because a lot of other people might give up. So anyway, yeah. So I've not done too badly. I can use my 5 free transfers, and then I'll just have my goalie left over. I'm just going to go through each position: goalie, defender, midfield, forwards. There's not that many options, but the goalie, there's a couple of things to be said about the goalkeeper, which is if you've only got one playing goalie, you could, like me, I've got Martinez. I'm just going to play Martinez in the first game. If he gets a clean sheet, I don't actually have to use a transfer for the second one anyway, so I can just save that till the final. Another thing to think about is that if you do use a second transfer and you bring in Lloris, let's say, well, if you think that Argentina and France are going to go through to the finals, then you're booking in another transfer for your goalie, because they're going to be playing in the same game in the finals. So something to kind of be aware of, that it might just, I mean, I'm kind of thinking if Martinez gets 1 or 2 points, I probably wouldn't take a 3-point hit to get Lloris in, because if he gets 2 and then Lloris gets 6 and I've taken a 3-point hit, I'm only gained 1 point for that risk, and I've lost a transfer potentially in the final. So I think I'd only do a 3-point hit for Lloris if Martinez gets a 0 or less, and even then I don't know at the moment. So that's one thing to think about there. Yeah, I think that's. Was there anything else I wanted to say about the keepers? No, I think that's it. And then the defenders at the moment, I'm kind of thinking I'm going to go big with France, because the only question I'm trying to figure out with defence is it better again to spread your bets or go big? Should I get a couple of Moroccans and a couple of French and then spread my bets, And if Morocco gets a clean sheet, great. If France gets a clean sheet, great. Or should I just go all in with France? Because at the moment, I'm thinking I'm just going to go all in with France, because Morocco's attack is one of the worst in the World Cup so far. I mean, they didn't do too bad against Portugal, but where are they? They're right down here. They're kind of in the bottom half, and XG and XA quite near the bottom. They're not very attacking. And France's defence in qualifying was pretty good. In World Cup qualifying, their defence was pretty good. Now, in the World Cup so far, it hasn't seemed that good. So I'm a little bit kind of unsure. Theo Hernandez isn't as defensive as Lucas Hernandez, I believe, I've heard. And they've got Koundé on the right back, who's not a natural right back, I don't think. But I still feel like France, I would expect them to do all right against Morocco. Morocco's team is a bit injured now. I mean, particularly in defence, they've got Seyss out. I think, last I heard, doesn't look like he was coming back the way it looked. Aguerd is still out. Their left back, I can't remember who it is. I've got it here. Mazraoui, I think he's out as well. Where's Morocco? Morocco. Mazraoui, he might be 75% possibly, unless this hasn't been updated. And Ziyech might have a knock as well, so he's a bit 50-50. So they're a bit... I just feel like France are going to have it. So at the moment, I'm thinking in defence, I'm just going to go big on France. And I've already got Otamendi, and I brought Sosa in just because I already had 6 Argentinians, and I think at one point I was going to have 6 French as well. So I couldn't really... I mean, I might have been able to in retrospect, but I think it's possible I'm going to end up with 6 French. So I did bring Sosa in, and he might be useful in the third place playoff as well if they get there. Anyway, so yeah, so defence, I'm thinking of bringing in Koundé, which is not very exciting, but out of all their defenders, Varane, Upamecano and Koundé, he's the one that gets slightly more attacking. He's on the right, he might whip some crosses in. You never know, he gets a little bit further forward, but not much. And then I'll go for Varane as well. Yeah. And I might do the 3-point hit for Lloris, but I'm probably going to have 3 French defenders. So that's what I'm planning on doing. But that's really the only question I had. Spread your bets or go big. And I think I'm going to go big with French and just hope for the best. Then midfield is very slim pickings. So this is my little list for midfield players at the moment. And it's only like, 7 or 8 slots for positions for 5 slots. And most of these I'm not really realistically considering. I've already got Ziyech and I've already got De Paul, so they'll be staying. I think Di Maria, if he starts, is option number 1. I would have thought, this is just my feeling, is that he's the most attacking, most likely to get something. Then, even though Argentina's defence is good, I just feel like Perisic and Modric are probably the next best. And I don't really like having Croatian attackers against my Argentinian defenders in my team, but their options are very slim. Enzo Hernandez, maybe. It's not too bad. You could go Rabiot for France, 6.5, but he's not... I mean, he's like a kind of 0.2, 0.3 XGI man. He might get something. Yeah, possible. I'll be waiting for lineups as well, because Di Maria, we have to check that he starts. And that's just a tip in general, which is like, don't make any transfers until you see the lineups. You don't need to rush, because all of the players who aren't playing are knocked out. They're just treated as unlocked players, so they'll be unlocked for both games. Hey Dan, brother's home. So yeah, so not very many options. Di Maria, Perisic, Modric. I've got 3 slots, so I'll probably just go for those 3. And then depending on rotation, lineups, I may switch to these ones, but that's my thinking at the moment. Di Maria, Perisic and Modric, with Ziyech and De Paul, because I've already got them. Yeah, not much to say about that. Not many options. And then forwards, again, not many options. I think everyone's going to have Messi and Mbappe. And so it's just the third slot. Who do you go for? Giroud, Alvarez, or Griezmann? And if you don't go for those 3, you've got like Kramaric and Nesri or Lautaro Martinez. And none of them really... I mean, you could have an outside pump with Nesri, but I think Giroud, if you can get him in your team, is probably best. I had to go for Alvarez because I had to do the transfer early last week and last match day. And he played for Argentina and he was already guaranteed through, so I just went for that. But, yeah, slim pickings. So, yeah, that's about all there is to say. The only other question is 3-point hits as well. Some people might be considering 3-point hits. It's very tricky in midfield. I don't know. I don't feel like I would take many. Defense, with the French defense, I might, if you have players out, and you haven't got, if you got not playing players, I might be willing to take a 3-point hit for a French defender against Morocco and just punt on the clean sheet. You're only going to have 3 points from that. But I'm not sure. One sec. Sorry, yep. And up front, if you haven't got Messi or Mbappe, take a 3-point hit for them potentially. But maybe for Giroud or Alvarez, if you haven't got them, he won't be my captain. Yeah, it'll be my captain. And then, yeah, so 3-point hits. I'm not sure I would take many. I mean, you do have to think that it's not just a 3-point hit for this match day, it's for next match day as well. But then you've got the 6 transfers for next match day. I am anticipating quite a lot of rotation in the third place playoff, potentially. So you want to load up on players from France and Argentina. Probably they're the favourites to go through. So that means in the final there'll be less rotation. But if it all goes to plan, which it might not do, yeah, I think those 6 free transfers in the final match day 7 could get used up quite quick with all the rotation potentially. So yeah, anyway, so 3-point hits. I'm not sure I'd be that trigger happy with 3-point hits. I think, don't know, it depends how much risk you want to take. But I won't be taking that many. So only the keeper I'm thinking of personally. Yeah, anyway, I think that's all I wanted to say today. If you've got any chips left, may as well use them. Power captain. Problem with power captain is everybody's going to captain Messi then Mbappe this game week. Might be better in the final, because if it is Messi and Mbappe in the final, then people are going to have to choose which of those two to captain. So you might get a bit of an advantage there. Yeah. Anyway, if anybody's got any thoughts or questions or want to talk about, leave comments below. And I'll leave it there. Okay. Bye bye.